All right. First up is comments and suggestions from citizens present. Once again, keep in mind, this is for items. People are here. If you have something you would like to talk about that is not on the agenda, please feel free to step up and make a comment. Keep it as brief as possible, please. Please try not to repeat things that have been said in the past or from previous speakers. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Carrie Rice. I'm a resident of Hudson. I want to start by thanking for establishing a mask policy so that during this pandemic, people like me can feel safe entering this chamber to speak. I've already written to you to express my support for Alderperson Joyce Hall in her questioning of the suitability of John Kraft as an election worker during the upcoming elections.
Mr. Mayor?
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. The city attorney he's on Zoom. The city attorney
Yes.
needs to say something.
Yeah. No, my apologies for jumping in. I did, before we started with comments, I think everybody is aware that there is a pending investigation, actually that's pending before the Finance Committee with respect to the complaint that was filed by Mr. Kraft against Councilperson Hall. Because it is a pending investigation before the city, I'd ask that the council not take comment on this particular issue. We've had my partner from my firm has interviewed Mr. Kraft, has interviewed Alderperson Hall. We will be issuing a report and recommendation in short order, and so I'd ask that this particular item not receive comment at this time, just given the nature of the pending investigation.
All right, well, if I can continue, the rest of it really doesn't have anything to do with that investigation. I'm speaking today instead to ask our leaders to recognize that these times are not normal, that we see people before this in other elected bodies who pick and choose which words of the Constitution apply to them. Some exhibit intimidation, disregard, and open contempt for anyone who disagrees with them, including you, our elected officials. As someone who ran for office last year, I and other candidates found that in addition to running against an opponent, we had an invisible opponent. The Hope for Hudson Coalition, I've got a postcard right here, that was set up, produced an expensive, integrated marketing campaign to discredit some candidates, that would be those of us in the black and white, and promote others. This was for a nonpartisan election, but it was an obvious partisan attempt. This Washington, D.C.-based political action committee funded postcards, emails, digital marketing, and even a TV ad promoting candidates that were considered suitable. To my knowledge, none of the candidates supported by this PAC disavowed this blatantly partisan campaign. As a candidate, I was appalled. This was a city council position, not a Senate seat. Had I won the election, I would have invested in additional home security. The sinister tone at the local level is deterring good people from running for office and could lead to real violence. For those running for this April election, a nonpartisan election, I urge you to reach out to this political action committee and ask them to stop. This organization continues today. Keep our elections clean and devoid. And Randy, I'll call you out because I think you did run a clean and fair campaign. This was not a direct, my comments are not directed to you personally. But instead, just to keep our rhetoric clean, not intimidating, and away from outside influence. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Sherry Christie. I've been a resident of Hudson for 15 years. I feel compelled to speak. And this is about last week, or the last meeting, and I'm going to avoid the John Kraft thing and rather just say that I'll sharpen my pencil and see if I can elaborate and make things more concrete and specific to make a substantive ethics complaint against the mayor and Mr. Morissette for conflicts of interest and for treating what is a serious threat to free and fair elections, and to dismiss that with a brush off saying this is partisan, when in fact, Mr. Mayor, You are allied with Mr. Kraft. Here's a Facebook posting of just last year. Full night fundraising for the mayor. This is John Kraft's posting. Doing everything I can to help with the effort. Rich has done a lot of good things for Hudson. I believe the appropriate thing to do would have been to not comment and not call that partisan, given that you are already allied with this man. And further, to dismiss this
Mr. Mayor,
as partisan.
I've got to jump in here. These comments are ultimately related to the discussion that the Finance Committee had and the discussion that's been ongoing in the investigation. I'd prefer that we steer clear of comments related to process. As I indicated, we'll be issuing our report soon for discussion by the Finance Committee. They will provide some detail with respect to Mr. Kraft, but I'd like to steer clear in public comment of this issue if we could.
Fair enough. I have seen, and again, I think what you did with Mr. Kraft to put private relationships over public interest is wrong. For people who are brown, Muslim, LGBT, this is less than a welcoming community, and your actions have made it so. I think I voted for you the first time you ran. I used to be a Republican. You have taken reasonable people like me in the middle and pushed us out to the edge. You and people like you. I'm sorry I'm not more eloquent. Again, I had a prepared script off my letter. I will come back, sharpen my pencil, and work with my legal team to make sure that there's something in there that sticks. Again, I don't want to be here. This is not what I like to do, but I've had it. I've had it. Thank you.
Hi, Liz Malanafi, 3rd Street in Hudson. And this thing with Mr. Kraft, I can't speak to your intentions or your motivations, but one of my kids once said to me, and this will stick with me forever, impact is greater than intent. So you may not have intended for him to do any harm or to be intimidating in any way, but he is. And it is up to you as a leader to understand that.
Mr. Mayor, again, I would ask that comments
I'm done.
be taken
I'm
on
done.
the investigation.
I'm done, sir.
Thank you, Liz. Any other comments? Any other comments? Yes, sir.
It's clear that several of the people on the council would not have their positions if it weren't for John Kraft. It's time to pay the piper for that. Find in John Kraft's favor, or you won't have their support.
Thank you. Any other comments? Oh, you know what? Yeah, could you give your name and address, please? Oh, that's part of, we always ask for people to identify themselves.
It does seem that when people are in favor of the mayor and his cronies, that those rules are not enforced equally. I've seen this over and over again. It's bullshit.
Well, clearly, maybe not clearly, I guess I didn't understand exactly what was said there.
Over
So,
and over.
yeah, okay. Would you please give your name? All right, any other comments? Any other comments?
My name is Talia, and I live over at Heritage Green. I would actually just like to read from an article that was shared with me a while back in relation to you, Mr. O'Connor, which was a quite surprising article to me when I came across read it. It's from the St. Paul Pioneer Press, dated August 29th of 1990. Come to find out, you, Mr. O'Connor, was a registered Democrat with the DFL who ran as a senator and was unopposed in the party primary.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask, there are a lot of personally directed attacks or personally directed comments
Mr.
in
Mayor
any
personally
case.
attacks people when he's sitting from his podium in his position, so his citizens have a right to speak back and to speak against the attacks that he makes against our community.
Excuse me, please. The council has the right and the authority to host a public comment in any form that it desires. But one of the rules has always been that we're not going to condone direct public comments directed at individuals on the council. And I would suggest that the council continue with that practice. Public comment generally is not for the public to stand up and make a point about a particular council member or elected official, but rather to discuss issues of the day that aren't with the agenda.
Well, it
I would
harkens back to
ask
his
that we.
inability to govern in an ethical manner. It shows he has a history of unethical behavior, which he has been fined for at the federal government level in the amount of $13,376. He was under investigation from a bingo hall in the amount of $17,700 for unethical
Again,
behavior.
Mr. Mayor, these comments, and it doesn't matter whether the comments are directed toward the mayor or any other individual council person. It is not a prudent practice to allow members of the public to make comments directly adverse to council members.
So it's okay for him to attack our community and attack council members, but it's not okay for us to stand up and respond.
Jeff? Okay, any other comments?
Fuck off, Rich.
All class. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll close that portion of the agenda. Consent agenda.